Hey, hey, everybody. I am so thrilled to see all of you here. It is always exhilarating and uplifting for me to see so many people here who are making the life-affirming choice to bring more joy, empowerment, and spiritual fulfillment into their lives. So, my name is Radley Valentine, and I have been teaching people about the transformational power of Tarot and the angels for over 30 years. And in that time, I have learned so much that I want to share with you. And in the last 18 months, I've learned even more. Because you see, I have been on a transformational journey myself. I believe that most people come to Tarot for guidance in their lives. And that's exactly what it's for. But more often than not, they approach their seeking at something that's a little bit more of a surface level. Should I choose the red car or the blue car? Should I take that new job? Should I do this or that? And while that's cool, and Tarot can surely be of a great assistance that way, there is so much more available to you. Because the true power of tarot is to answer the deeper questions, to give us guidance on our divine journey to happiness, to discover our truest purpose in life and lift us up. Now, if we steer back to our car metaphor, see what I did right there? Tarot is not about the color of the car. Tarot is about why the car in the first place. Where is the car supposed to take me? Suddenly, if you look at it from that perspective, the red or blue question becomes very immaterial because it's not the point. What becomes the point is the car, and what's the car even for? Do you actually need the car to get where you're going? And what is the destination? What's the journey all about? And how will that journey change your life? Tarot is about the destination, not how we're going to get there. Now, don't get me wrong, it can be about how you're going to get there, but maybe that's not the first question. And maybe that's where we don't take full advantage of tarot, is because we make it the first question. If you start with, how am I going to get there, without knowing what the actual destination is, then you are going to have a very long journey, probably with a ton of detours. And you may not even wind up where you want to be. Of course, Tarot can help you to make day-to-day decisions that better your life experience. But think of it this way. If you had a magic lamp, a magical genie bottle, would you just ask for guidance about how to get that new toy that you've been wanting? Or would you think to ask for long-term abiding inner peace and joy in your life? Tarot can help you to get to know yourself at a deeper level. It can help you to see why you're really here on this plane at this time. Because here's the thing, you do not leave the spiritual plane to come to earth to become a professional golfer. Okay. A professional golfer, sure. That's not why you came here. It doesn't mean that you won't be a professional golfer or that you shouldn't be one, but that outcome is not why you are here. The why is the deeper part. You see, I am enamored with a question of why. I think a lot of times we as human beings don't like to ask why questions because they feel challenging or judgmental. Someone asks us, why did you pick that? Or Why would anyone want what you've just expressed a desire for? But when we ask ourselves the why questions, we are actually loving ourselves. Let me say it again. When you ask the why questions, you are actually loving yourself. Think about it. Why am I unhappy? Why is this path I've chosen for myself so difficult? Why, if following my dream is so expensive, and by expensive, I don't just mean money, I might mean in what other ways it might cost us. So, why is my dream so expensive? Well, why am I unhappy is a self-loving question because it indicates a desire to change things so that you can be happy because you deserve it. It's a self-loving choice. Why is the path I've chosen so difficult? It's a self-loving question. If it's asked from the standpoint of, are my challenging signs from the universe? And I'm not on the true path toward fulfillment and joy. Is that why my path is difficult? And I want to know that so I can change my path. Any, why is pursuing my dream going to cost me so much? Is a loving question because it allows you to assess the value of the dream. Is what this is costing me worth it? Because if it is, maybe it's not expensive after all. Maybe it's a bargain. Asking ourselves the why questions, asking ourselves for the internal understanding of what we are choosing helps us to change our perspective. It helps us to change the way we see our, our plight, our situation, and our challenges. Any given thing that we might be drawn towards can have implications, big and small, towards our life purpose and our happiness. So let's go back to the professional golfer thing. I don't know why I picked that. But anyway, whatever you're drawn to, why are you drawn to that? Well, maybe your light has been hidden under a bushel for so many lifetimes that your current incarnation, this current life, is a soul lesson to learn self-respect and also to learn about demanding the respect of others. Sure, in this lifetime and in this incarnation, you will get the fame, you'll get the money, but is that really enough? Is that really worth the wear and tear that a lifetime on earth can put you through? Maybe the golfer aspiration is just a journey that leads you to deeper things. Maybe your soul chose that path because knocking that little ball around would take you from this course to the next golf course and to the one after that. Each one representing a further exploration of self. Tarot can help you to figure out these deeper lessons earlier, to understand your soul's journey sooner, so you can live in accordance with that, so you can have fewer stumbles along the way, so you can fully appreciate the lessons you're learning. That's the reason to use tarot. You see, tarot takes a big picture view. It looks at things from a broader standpoint than we in our human incarnations might be able to grasp. If you think about for just a moment this whole concept that we are choosing to incarnate, that we are choosing to come here. Why are we doing that? Maybe that's the biggest cosmic why of all. Maybe that's why at any given point, the universe is treating us like a compass. It wants our compass to point north, to point towards joy, to point towards happiness. It's always said that there are two basic ways to motivate someone: reward or punishment. And so if we move through life without the whys, if we move through life without the understanding and the complete acceptance of our purpose and where it is that we're trying to go, then the universe tries to redirect us, to repoint us. And if we go towards the negative, then the universe is going to say, well, all right, let's focus on the negative. And that will make things more challenging. That will make things more difficult. And that way we will keep going. We will start to think, do I keep going in this direction when it makes me so unhappy? And that's when we start to think, I need help. I need a tarot deck. I need an affirmation deck. I need an oracle card. I need something to guide me because all I'm aware of is that I'm unhappy and I don't want to be. Well, here's the scoop, guys. The universe doesn't want you to be unhappy either. It isn't the meaning of things. When things don't go right, when things don't happen in the way that we expect them to, when we feel challenged and out of our place, we are either being redirected by a loving God, goddess, divine source, or we are learning something that will later enrich us in such a way that our joy will be greater. The universe talks to us in 8 million different ways. It does. Astrology, numerology, the Bible, tarot, oracle cards. You pick it. Math talks to us in math. Signs. One of the most loving and beautiful ways that the universe speaks to us is signs. You can pick whichever way you want. I'm just wanting you to understand that tarot is a language of the divine. It is a way for you to communicate, and it is a way I can teach you. And regardless of what you may have seen of it in the past, and regardless of the ways in which it may have been presented to you in the past, I have taken tarot and added to it the beauty and the power of angels, God's messengers, literally the incarnation of, of unconditional love, focused on you and nobody else but you. It's there for you. If you can get the answers, if you can get the clues, if you can get on the path to joy and happiness and enlightenment faster, why wouldn't you? And so you have to ask yourself, is asking, do I want a red car or a blue car really going to get me there? Like I said, your soul did not leave the nirvana of the spirit world to become a professional golfer or a certified public accountant or a spiritual teacher with Hay House. Or maybe for this audience, your soul didn't leave nirvana even to become a professional tarot card reader, right? But maybe it came to earth because it needs you to learn the lesson of humility or service. Or maybe what you need is to fully realize your own personal worth and worthiness, and to be able to express that through joy and learning rather than challenge and unhappiness. I mean, wouldn't that be so cool to know? Wouldn't it be amazing to tune your hearts to that goal? You can sense this if you tune into your intuition. You can see what you truly need to be happy and fulfilled. You can see that this car or this job or this relationship may or may not give you what your soul is yearning for. You can discern if those things are truly the goal or just the signposts along the way. You can come to see the connections between daily life and the big picture. Tarot can be a true tool of transformation if you let it. If you work with it at a level beyond red car, blue car, beyond what do I need to get me out of this job, beyond how do I find a relationship. Yes, of course, you can use it for those things, but at the same time, it it's why you're in the job in the first place and why do you want out? Ask it why you're single right now and what is it that you're trying to learn before you get paired up. Ask the why questions. Now, so many of us in the spiritual community are creatures of service. We want to help others. It's a wonderful, magical thing about us. And Tarot can take that deep, innate desire to help others to the next level. You can be the catalyst for other people's transformation. You can help them see the forest that they are missing because they're obsessed with the trees. I can tell you in no uncertain terms that one of the things I love more than anything is being there when people find their epiphanies, when the lights turn on, when they become awake to their own beauty and majesty as a child of the divine, when they see the angels for the first time, when the path of transformation reveals itself and they can see the path to happiness and freedom. That's the why of Tarot. It's amazing. It can change your life and it can allow you to help change other people's lives. And if you read for other people, it can change their lives and your lives simultaneously. Part of the wonderment and the magic of having taken angels and tarot and blended them together. And we're going to talk a lot more about angels in lesson two. But but the thing that was beautiful about it is because it literally encased the stories, the messages, the deep inner human experience that is embedded in tarot and has been for 600 years and wrapped it up in the loving understanding that is the universe, that is the divine. There's a song by a very well-known long-term performance artist, and I won't mention her name. You can look it up. But the song is called "Better Than a Hallelujah," and I love that song. And let me tell you why I love that song and what that has to do with tarot. Better Than a Hallelujah is this song that talks about how to the divine, to source, an act of praise isn't as beautiful a sound, isn't as beautiful a song as is the human experience reaching out to source, to divine, asking for love and compassion, asking to express itself, asking to be a part of a connection, because that is in the end what the divine wants. And so when we find ourselves in our challenges, when we find ourselves in our distress, and we reach out to our angels or we reach out to the divine directly itself, we are singing a song that Source loves. Because Source wants to watch us grow. Source wants to watch us experience this thing that we chose to come to Earth to experience. And it wants to watch us get past it. No matter what we are experiencing, we are loved, we are adored. And so angels are messengers of God. That's what they are. They are literally an embodiment of that love for us that comes to help us. And so when we take a tarot deck, this is Angel Wisdom Tarot cards. It's just the one I picked up, but I have bunches of tarot cards and bunches of decks and stuff. But when we pick up a deck and we open that deck and we pull out the cards and we wonder, why am I struggling right now? Or why do I feel stuck and I can't move? Or why do I feel like things are not going fairly for me? Or why can I not see what it is that I need to see? Or likewise, oh my God, things are such a success. I'm in love. I found deep spiritual meaning. When we take these experiences and we wrap them up with the angels, we do something different with tarot because suddenly the tarot indicates to us that we're not alone. We're not alone. It's reminding us when angels are present. It's reminding us that we are on this journey with someone else, someone greater than us, someone who remembers what we do not remember, and someone that adores us and loves us. That's what makes Angel Tarot different. And when we are crying out, when we are saying, oh my goodness, this feels terrible to me, or sorrow, endings I wasn't prepared for. It's really natural for us. That's when we quote unquote get religious. That's when we remember to reach out to the universe and say, I need help. Where we forget is when things are going great, when we're in love. Even if we're a little stressed because there's so much good stuff going on, which is what this card talks about, we forget then that we're still being walked with angels who would really love to hear about the happy part. Remember the better than a hallelujah? It's not just our cries of needing help, it's our exclamations of joy and gratitude. These things go together to make things so magical and powerful and amazing for us. Tarot is 600 years old. It's been around for a minute. Are there other versions of the languages of the divine that have been around longer? Yeah, astrology's been around longer. But that's the thing. One of the reasons why I have so many tarot decks and I have oracle card decks and I have this beautiful deck that's coming out very soon that is a deck of affirmations is because there are 7.9 billion people on the planet, and we're all different. You might, if you got really lucky, and I think it would be truly lucky, I think it would be, you might find somebody who is so lockstep close to exactly like you are. You might, but I doubt it. Because you are unique, and that's what makes you beautiful. 7.9 billion people means 7.9 billion pieces to the puzzle. And if you put a puzzle together and there is a piece missing, where do your eyes go? They go to the place where the puzzle piece is missing every single time. That's why it's so important for you to come up with and understand your own whys. Why it's so important for you to be in a place where you get the whys of your situation. Sorry about that. Had a little moment there. And so by having all these different decks, I allow to, and what I'm trying to do is to allow different people to find the different kind of message and the different kind of energy that speaks to them. When we are working with tarot, our path of transformation reveals itself. It reveals itself for ourselves. It reveals ourselves for others. It allows them to be able to see the path to happiness and freedom. In my decades of reading tarot, I have gotten to experience so many wonderful moments of service. I remember one time, um, I'm a recovering certified public accountant, for those of you who don't know, and I used to manage 150 people at the when I was at the top of my insanity. I had 150 people down line from me, but I was already into tarot. I was already into like angels. I was already into this stuff, and I sort of had a little side website. Well, you know what? You can't hide from a bunch of auditors. They will find you. And so the people that worked for me would figure it out. They would figure it out. They would come to me and say, "Oh my goodness, Radley, I kind of saw this other thing that you do, and I really want to get pregnant, and I can't. And I just wondered what the card said, if you could tell me." And I remember this one person. She was, I think, without question, the best employee I ever had. I started dragging her from company to company with me. And she came into my office one day and she shut the door and she's like, "I want to be pregnant, but I can't." And so I remember I pulled a card for her, and the card said she was pregnant. And I was like, "Hun, you are pregnant now. You're pregnant right now." And she's like, "No, I'm not. I'm not. I took a test yesterday." And I said, "Go take another test." And the next morning she walked in and she was like, "Ta-da." And I'm like, "You're pregnant." She's like, "I'm pregnant." One of the most deeply poignant and important things I think that ever happened to me was this wonderful gentleman who came to me, and he had his father had died pre his birth. And he didn't really trust what his mom had to say about his dad. And so I was working with the angels and working with tarot and pulling cards for him. And I was getting wonderful messages. I was getting these messages that really kind of said things like, "Your dad loved you, blah, 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 blah." Um, the deck I was using had a card with a dog on it. Those of you who know me know that my cards always have dogs on them. They have my dogs on them. And so I sort of got this message. I said, "I think your dad had a really had a small dog, a yappy dog." And he's like, "Well, I don't know. I have no way of knowing that." But and I was starting to feel bad. I was feeling bad because giving this guy these messages that said, "Well, your dad loves you, he's proud of you." There's no way to validate it. There's no way to prove it. And without it, it's like without something to validate it, it's like, well, this is a nice message, but it doesn't do it for me. And as we were working with the angels and with the tarot, it came up that it's like literally, this is part of the validation. It was like your dad had siblings. And he's like, "Oh, yeah, they did. He did." And I'm like, "He had a brother and a sister." And then I really had his attention. He said, "Yes, he did." And I said, Sister's dead, because this is what the card said. Brother is still alive. And he sat back down and said, well, that's what I've heard, but I can't find him. And through working with the cards, it came up that it's like your dad's in a nursing home in Australia. 3 weeks later, his wife came back into the little brick and mortar store where I was doing readings and said he found his uncle. He found his uncle in a nursing home in Australia. And he got to go there and talk to his uncle. And one of the things his uncle said was, you know what drove me crazy about your dad? And he said, what? And he said, that yippy little dog he had always drove me crazy. Suddenly, the depth of the message there, that little yippy dog validated everything that I had been told about his dad loving him. Now, why find his dad? Why find his dad? It's that's not such a red and blue car thing, but it is a thing that's on the material plane. It's like, I want to find my roots. Well, in finding his roots, in finding those things, he got more information about his father. He found this whole aspect of my dad didn't bail on me just because he didn't care. He does love me. And this was part of my journey to be raised with only a mom. Tarot helped him with his why. I've had people show up in my and for me to do readings for them and say, it's like, I think you're moving, and them go, I'm not moving. And then they show up later and go, oh, guess who moved? Right? This can help to heal relationships with others that desperately need to be repaired. Do you know why all of this is true? It's because this is the path of love. That's what it is. It's a path of love. But I want you to know that the same love needs to be shown to yourself. We talk about self-love all the time in the spiritual community. But my experience is that most of the time it's just that, it's just talk. It isn't fully realized. Most people haven't the foggiest idea what it means to truly, deeply respect, cherish, and love themselves. And I would argue that that is the key to any incarnation, key to any true and lasting journey towards joy. Some of you are talking about in the chat room, oh, you guys are sweet. I am fine. I am coming off the high of having done a 5 day event, and I have talked and talked and talked and talked. So that's all that is. It's like, that's the reason I'm having to stop for a second and to cough, to be honest. So, some of you are asking about self-love. One of the reasons why Tarot is so transformational, one of the reasons why it has the ability to help us in so many ways to find our whys is so that we can become accustomed and acquainted with ourselves, so that we can be in that space where we can start to be intrigued. If you were at the event that I was just at, or you've been paying attention, you may have noticed that I've been teasing on my Facebook channel about some big decision that's coming up. And to my utter enjoyment, to my utter enchantment, some people thought that that meant that I had met somebody and that I was like considering a relationship and blah, 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 blah. Well, I kind of have met somebody. I kind of have. And I am considering a relationship um, with a dog. And and so think about getting a dog, or think about having a baby, or think about any kind of relationship that you're engaging with. Think about being a spiritual teacher who is engaged at this particular point in a desire to be of service. We want absolutely to be able to be carriers of love to those people. We want to help them. One of the things that I love to do more than just about anything is to help people see themselves the way I see them. And I'm blessed. It's like I'm just really blessed. I can see the goodness and the beauty in people when they can't see it themselves. I can. And so I love that. And when you're working with tarot and when you're working with angels, one of the beauty parts is to try to treat yourself the way that you would treat a little puppy, or the way that you would treat a friend, or the way that you would treat someone that you are trying to be of assistance to. You would treat that puppy or you would treat that person with love. You would treat them with generosity. If a puppy comes into this house, and I think the girls and I have agreed that it is, if that's going to happen, then one of the things that we would do is we would treat that dog with love. We would go, "Oh, you're perfect. You're beautiful. I happen to have chosen a dog that is very timid, kind of afraid of his own shadow." So what's the scenario there? Teach the dog why he's perfect. Just a few moments ago, literally just within the hour, I sat the girls down, my two other dogs, Riley and Faith, and said, "Are you in? Do you want to do this?" And they both got super excited. I told them, "You're going to have to teach him. You're going to have to be a part of this." And Riley literally took her paw up and high-fived me. Now, just like that, that's a thing of love. Tarot helps us to love ourselves because we get to learn ourselves. Until you understand the depthness and the fullness and the truthfulness that is self-love, you don't get how amazing you are. But if you go on that path, if you work with tarot with the angels and you go towards that path, you go on the path that says, "I want the unfolding of myself to be present." I just want to say that again. I want the unfolding of myself, the understanding, the natural awareness of myself to happen. And I am going to take each little piece, whether that piece says I'm fabulous, whether that piece says I'm a work in progress, and whether that piece says I'm a little stuck in my ego and I need to fix it. If it says you're wonderful, love that. If it says you're a work in progress, then appreciate that. And if it says you're in your ego, Have compassion for that. The same as you would have compassion for somebody else. Embrace the unfolding of yourself. The last 18 months for me have been an amazing journey, a tough one, a hard one. All of the things that I've talked about today, the 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 questioning of the cost of making certain choices, the questioning of why things are so challenging and why it is difficult. All of these things are questions that I have asked myself. All of these things are things I have asked myself over the last 18 months. And the answers have been amazing. The answers came through my cards. The answers came through the angels. And the answers came from people that I trusted enough to read cards for me or to get messages for me. It was this amazing combination of my own desire to seek out answers. And I'm using Angel Wisdom Tarot cards right now, coupled with the love of others, people who were true, amazing spiritual teachers, true, amazing folk who really wanted to help us, me and the girls, to help us through this big life transition. And in doing so, in doing the work, in going through the process of everything that I've been through over the last 18 months, that's when I get to the place where that's when I got to the place where I was like, I'm pretty cool. Again, Tarot is about the why. Why am I on this journey? Why am I on this path? Someone's asking about, can you explain the merits of just working with angels and working with angels and tarot? There's a lot of answers to that question, but not everybody feels confident enough just to sit and communicate with angels. One of the reasons why we have these tools that we work with is because we as human beings tend to doubt ourselves. We doubt ourselves. We doubt our ability to get the messages that we need. And yet we will place our faith in card decks, or we'll place our faith in other aspects, other different journeys that provide us that information. Tarot can really help us to get out of our own way. It'll allow us to put our faith in the cards and in the messages that are coming while we learn to have faith in ourselves more fully. There's also just the aspect of this that cards are fun. People are asking about the different card decks. And if there's a card deck that I would say is a really great one to start with, I would start with this one, Guardian Angel Messages Tarot cards. And the reason why I would say start with that one is because that particular deck is simpler than the others. It still has rich symbolism and things like that, but it just has a few words on it. It's meant to be gentle. We are also very much into the whole essence of guardian angels. We're taught that in pretty much every single religion, every single spiritual thought. And so it's familiar to us. So you might start there, but you could start any place. People are asking the difference between tarot and oracle cards. Oracle cards are a free flow, free form methodology for creating cards. They can have 44 cards, they can have 17 cards, 2, 27, 86, 100. It can have as many as or as few as the artist wants. Each card can mean what the artist wants it to mean. It's not a structure. It's not a structured system. Tarot is structured. It's 600 years old. And so it is structured into 5 suits. The major arcana, which are cards that look like this particular card that have a big archangel in my system, not in the others, but have a big archangel in them. And they represent big influences in our life, big situations that occur. Then there's the minor arcana, which is broken into 4 suits. All right, 4 suits. And those 4 suits represent our passions and our creativity. Another suit represents our heart and our intuition. Another suit represents our minds and our intellect. And the final suit kind of represents stuff. It's the material things. And it's very structured. Tarot is structured. You need to have 78 cards. You need to have 5 suits. You need to have a major arcana and 4 suits and minor arcana. You need court cards. You need these things for it to truly be tarot. It can be a blend of these things, but then it's not solid 100% tarot. Tarot itself is a thing that people were taught to kind of like have fear about and taught to have this sort of sense of, oh my goodness, it's too complicated. I didn't want that to be the case. And so that's why I created Angel Tarot. That's why I created this way of teaching Tarot to help you to have this sense of feeling like you can do this because you can. You absolutely can. So one of the things that I want to do is I want to give you some stuff to think about. This is a 3-part series. So we have part 2 and part 3 still in front of us. All right. So what does it look like to get started in tarot? How does that work? How do you even begin? Well, to be honest, you start by starting. All right. You get going by trying it. And maybe not by asking for the meaning of life with your first card pull. I mean, though, if you're here with me in this moment for this session and you're a seasoned tarot reader, then I am giddy with hope that I might have given you a much deeper view of the tool that you hold in your hands, and you might run with it, and maybe you will get the meaning of life in your first throwing of the cards. But for those of you who are new, who are just learning, I want you to play, okay? I want you to play. And I'm going to make this so easy for you to get an inkling, for you to have a spark of what I'm talking about. And you won't even have to have cards with you. Here's all you need. It'd be super cool if you've got a camera or a phone, something you can take a picture with, so that you can take a picture of the screen. Or you can screenshot the screens. Or you can just write it down. All right? So to help you to begin to see just how powerful this is, we are going to do a fun exercise right now. I want you to focus on a question that you would most like to have an answer to. And it'd be cool if you wrote it down, but you don't have to. It's not required. So think about that. I want you to think about a question that you'd like the answer to right now. And you don't have to, it doesn't have to be life purpose. It doesn't have to be anything intense. It can be red card, blue card. I don't care. Just think of a question that you would like an answer to. Okay. And then what I want you to do is I want you to tune in to this. Do you feel drawn to the number 1? I want you to find, do you feel drawn to the number 2? Do you feel drawn to the card number 3? Or do you feel drawn to card number 4? We're seeing some really great questions here, really great ones. But you've got your question. Do you feel drawn to 1, 2, 3, or 4? Okay. So now we're shuffling. Okay. All right. Okay. If you were drawn to card number 1, you were drawn to 2 of air. Now, for those of you who use traditional tarot, this is the equivalent of 2 of swords. Okay. 2 of swords, but I call it 2 of air. And you might want to take a picture of this right now. Take a picture of the card or screenshot the image on the screen. So this card says, being unable or unwilling to make a decision. Follow your own heart rather than trying to make others happy, pretending there is no problem, overanalyzing a situation. Now, this card is a card from the air suit. The air suit is driven by the mind. All right? Is driven by the mind. And yet, here, held at bay behind her is water. And water is emotion, but she's not standing on the emotion. She is stuck in the mind. 2 swords crossed. And where are those swords crossed? They are crossed over her heart. When you see this card wants you to know, it wants you to understand that it is important to make a decision. You can't wait any longer. You need to make a choice. You need to make a decision. Okay? And this card encourages you to make a decision that is what you want rather than what everybody else wants. This is card number 1. If you were drawn to card number 2, then you are drawn to a different air card, a different sword card. This is King of Air. So take a picture of that. I think the angels just took a picture of it. My goodness, my lights flashed. Or a screenshot. This is card number 2, the King of Air. And it says, receiving wise advice, remaining objective and fair-minded, public speaking, communicating clearly, unemotional relationships, or being emotionally unavailable. This is a card that says, get help, okay? Get an expert's assistance. If you're stuck on something that you need help with, get an expert to help you. But this card also asks us to be in this space where we are objective and fair-minded, where we're being a really good person. Again, this deck is Angel Wisdom Tarot cards. That's card number 2. Card number 3 goes a totally different direction, okay? This is the Lover's card, all right? The Lover's card. Card number 3 is the Lover's card. All right. And so this card says, embrace true love and deep, intimate friendships. Make choices from the heart, vibrant health, or recovering from an illness. So this card has got a lot of stuff going on right here. If you are concerned about your health and that's your question, this card is basically saying vibrant health will come back to you. A person in the chat room is saying, that she was asking a question about marriage. The Lover's card is about marriage. It's about true and abiding love. But here's the other thing. The Lover's card in traditional tarot used to be called the Choice. And so while we've had these other cards here that were saying make a choice or make a choice with the help of somebody else, this card's saying, nah, make the choice with the heart. Okay? Make your choice with a heart. And finally, if you were drawn to card number 4, okay? If you were drawn for card number 4, it's the moon with Archangel Haniel on it. So take a picture of that or a screenshot. And this card says, listen to your intuition. This is hilarious. You can't make this stuff up. Listen to your intuition and pay attention to signs from the divine. Unnecessary worry. If you felt called to card number 4, it's saying unnecessary worry. Let go of your fears. Revelations that will make everything clear. Okay. The moon is often a card that talks about hidden things, but when it shows up, revelations are about to happen. This card isn't saying make a decision from your mind, and it isn't saying make a decision from your heart. It's saying listen to your guidance, listen to your intuition. I would even argue that it might be saying use a language of the divine to get your answer. So, for those of you who are really newcomers and just starting out, maybe that's where you want to stop. But maybe it's not. You want to do just a little bit more? All right. So those questions, those cards, that was about the I need advice, I need some information, I need something a little more material. But what if we pull 4 more cards? Doesn't have to be the same. So you picked 1 last time. You can pick 2 this time. You picked 3 last time. You can pick 1 this time. Don't worry about what you picked last time. But here's the thing. We're going to pull a card on why. Why? All right. So pick your number 1 through 4 because we're asking what is the why behind that last question that you asked? 8 of water, otherwise known as 8 of cups. Take a picture of that. Okay. The need to move on. This card gives me angel bumps every time. Seeing more from life than what you're experiencing. A spiritual quest. Choosing to make big changes. A change in priorities. Leaving home. So, was your last question, is that concern about the need, the feeling that life isn't what it should be, that there should be more? Are you feeling called to something different? Even if your question was maybe mundane or simple, is this what's really behind it? If you were drawn to card number 2, transformation. In traditional tarot, this is the Tower card. I changed it because the Tower card has a reputation that it doesn't deserve. And it's also this imagery of lightning striking a building and people falling to their death. Not the meaning of transformation. All right. This card says a significant life experience that requires changes to be made. Powerful and often unexpected revelations, breaking free of procrastination, releasing old belief systems. This indicates that a big change is coming into your life, and maybe you're trying to hold it off. And in fact, we have Archangel Chamuel here, the Archangel of personal and global peace, holding an hourglass that is nearly empty. Do you want to do your big, massive life change on your timing or the angel's timing? I vote you get in cahoots with them and do it together. Card number 3, the star. The star. Have faith. The future is bright. dreams come true, positive changes that bring an end to challenging times, the light at the end of the tunnel, the star, Archangel Jophiel, the archangel of positive thought, happiness, joy, expectation, anticipation. This card is saying the why is that you need hope, you need faith. And faith is the power that will get you where you need to be. That if you can be in a positive place, if you can be in a hopeful place, if you can stay in a positive energy and believe that the universe loves you, believe that you are meant to be happy, believe that you are meant to be joyful, this is where you're going. Did you get that picture? And finally, this is so funny. You can't make this stuff up. So card number 4 in the first question was Haniel. She's back in card number 4. Okay. The High Priestess. The High Priestess. So take a picture or a screenshot. Meditate and turn inward to discover your soul's true desire. This is not the time for action. Develop your intuitive gifts and trust the wisdom you receive. The High Priestess, unlike some of these other cards, is not at all asking you to move forward. In fact, it's asking you to stop. Just stop and go within. Go within. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to take, this is your homework. Between now and the next class, you're going to think about these cards 3 times, okay? And with each time, you're going to go deeper. So right now, after this webinar ends, I want you to write down the first level of meaning from the first card you chose. That was about choosing the red card, the blue card. Is there an action item here, or is this just information? And then I want you to set them aside for a couple of hours. And then when you go back, I want you to look at the why card. What is this telling me about my motivations? What is there for me to know about myself in this moment? And then I want you to look at these cards again tomorrow morning when you get out of bed and ask yourself to go even deeper. How does the first card, the card of advice, and the card of why relate to one another? And how do they further illuminate each other? Now, I want to be super duper clear that this is just a first step, a first foray into the transformational magic of Tarot. I don't want you to knock yourself over the head for what you do or do not understand. Just play with it. We're not looking for the meaning of life in this little exercise, though that would be wonderful. You're just looking for an inkling, the first light of a new day. I think it would also be super helpful if you journaled your thoughts during this exercise. And if you're comfortable sharing your answers with us tomorrow, that would be amazing. Also, to help you out a bit more and maybe even awaken what questions you should be asking, I have pre-recorded another video that you will get access to with the replay of this video. Yes, we are going to send you something so that you can access the replay of this video. But with it is going to come another video. And this one is super fun and interactive. It's totally fun. It's you get to click on choices in the video itself. It's sort of like a choose your own adventure video where you can choose just one path. Or if you want to, and you can actually replay the video and go back and choose all the paths. Tomorrow, we are going to do what I do next, love to do next, or rather in the next session, we're going to do what I love to do next, not just with Tarot, but with everything. We are going to bring in the angels, all right? The magnificent, glorious, unconditionally loving angels, and see how they make Tarot all the more powerful and uplifting. And I will give you practical techniques to help boost your confidence and help you really get on your way to transformation. And then on day 3, I'll be answering your questions and doing readings. Yes, you can watch me in action and even personally get your own little epiphany during the session. So go do your homework, do it with joy, do it with curiosity. Get excited about the prospects and do it because you're making a new and powerful relationship with yourself. Listen to me. This is the juicy part of life, people. This is it. Love this. Love it. Love the unfolding of yourself. And if you know someone you care about who would really benefit from what we're talking about here, tell them about this series so that they can sign up and gain from it too. All right. So there you go. You got stuff to think about. I want you to think about all the whys, why you're beautiful, why you're wonderful, and why this part of your life is leading to something magical. Again, I'm Radley Valentine. The angels love you. See you again in session 2.